Hi everybody, I'm Andrew Luftglass with the Denison Sports Network. With the Big Red men's basketball season set to tip off at Livingston Gymnasium on Thursday night against Washington and Jefferson, I'm joined by Big Red men's basketball coach Bob Ghiloni. Bob, last year marked a major milestone for the program. Denison made it to the NCAC championship game for the first time in program history. What was it about last year's team that made it so successful?
Well, I think the biggest thing was we had a lot of experience, and we had guys that really understood what it took to win, and we really didn't get going until mid to late January. That's the hard part about it for us when we look back on the record. But they really understood the importance of rebounding and defense, and we were very, very good in both those areas for the second half of the year, and they had great chemistry on offense. You know, all those things, just you put those things together, and just the fact that we had 7 seniors, it was their last time around, I think it just culminated, in a real good end of the year run, and our guys really bought into what we were trying to do.
You have a lot of younger guys from last year's team as well that are returning. What do you think they can take from last year's success?
Well, I think the biggest thing they take is they don't know anything but some success. We lost a lot of close games in their mind. We could have had a much better record. We went to the championship game, which was very winnable. They don't know anything but the success. We brought in a decent freshman class. All they saw was how we ended up last year. It's one of the reasons they came here. So I think the biggest thing is some confidence, some belief in our system, belief in that, hey, we did it last year, we certainly think we can do it again this year. It's an expectation now, it's not a hope. And I think that's what it's done for us, give us a little bit of confidence.
Now, Coach, you did lose some impact players to graduation last year, but you did retain one of the core players of last year's team in Deon Hail, 1,000-point scorer, also had a double-double against Wittenberg in the semifinals. What are your expectations for him as a senior, both on the floor and as a leader?
Well, D3 News has named Deon a preseason All-American, and the expectation is we're going to get scoring out of him, we're going to get rebounding out of him. He's a much better defender this year than he's ever been. He's really worked at that part of his game. And honestly, offensively, he's better. I didn't think he could get a whole lot better, but he's quicker, he's jumping better, he's finishing better. So we just expect him to be the guy he is, which is one of the best players in the NCAC and probably one of the best players in the country. And we depend on him to be a leader. He's a quiet kid, and sometimes you fool yourself, or you're getting on him about being more vocal and all this, and then you call your freshmen and talk to them, and the guy that's helped them the most, his name keeps coming up. Deon constantly talks to me in the locker room. He takes me aside at practice. He's been a real help. So, it's kind of what you expect. He's a kid that's almost too good to be true. He's a great player. He's great on the floor. He's great off the floor with our guys. So we're dependent a lot on him. He's kind of who we are, a hard-working, selfless team, and I think everybody kind of follows his lead. So I think he's going to have a great year statistically, but I think also a great year in terms of all the intrinsic, the small things that need to be done that don't show up in the scorebook.
You also kept 2 other guys who have logged significant minutes from last year, Alex Longia Jr. and senior John Apapanam. What do you see their roles being? Do you see them increasing? And what players around them that we haven't seen so much of will we see more of in 2012?
Well, Alex, again, will probably guard the best perimeter player on the other team every game. He's a great defender. He's tough. And he's a good leader. He's one of our co-captains this year, along with Deon. But we're going to depend on Alex to score a little more. We told him last spring to start getting selfish and shoot the ball. Too often he passes up shots, and he's doing more of that. We're going to expect a little more scoring from him offensively. John, we hope that we can just get John to be consistent and be the John we've seen it, like last year in the OWU game here when we beat them, and he basically took the game over in the last couple of minutes, the way he played against Wittenberg last year. So we're hoping his minutes increase. He becomes a little bit better defender, but also just more of a threat all the time, both inside and outside. We're trying to get John to be more aggressive going to the basket. He's got a lot of ability, and we're looking for some leadership from him. He's a real mild-mannered, easygoing kid, but he's good with our younger guys, getting them to settle down and understand, hey, there's a lot of ups and downs this season. Those 3 guys, obviously Deon, John, and Alex are the core, but we've got 4 sophomores who got some time last year, not a lot, but Brett Woolard, who got about 10 minutes a game, and Briggs King, both have come back stronger and improved and have done well in our scrimmages early on. Both will play inside, outside for us. And then we've got a shooter named Robbie Weingart, who at times at Wabash last year had 3 threes once, and has shown us that he can be a real outside threat for us. And then in addition to that, Bradwell, Brett's twin, who didn't play much at all last year, but is one of the strongest guys in our team. Very good athlete, and a guy that really, again, is an inside-outside kid at about 6'3", 6'4", who can pose matchup problems for other people. Those 7 guys are going to see a lot of time, and I think those are people need to look for.
Coach, you open the season up on Thursday night against Washington and Jefferson. What do you want to see in the early stages?
In the early stages, I want to see great team defense. I don't think defensively we're where we can be yet, and obviously it's November, but I don't think we're quite where I thought we might be at this point, because we're pretty athletic, we're pretty tough. Our kids are physically tough. We're just not playing as well defensively together as we could. Our kids are unselfish, we just haven't figured it all out yet, and there's got to be great chemistry to play great team defense, but we're getting there. So I want to see a good defensive effort. And I want to see us win the battle on rebounding. Not just defensive rebounding, offensive rebounding can be a real key for us. Like I've said a couple of times, we're pretty athletic. We need to get to the boards and create second and third opportunities for ourselves. So those 2 areas, if we do that, offensively will take care of itself. We'll weather some of their runs, but I think we've got to play great team defense, and we've got to rebound the heck out of them.
Coach Ghiloni, thanks so much for joining us today. And we want everybody to come out and support the Big Red in their season opener on Thursday night at 7:30 at Livingston Gymnasium as they tip off against Washington and Jefferson.